We're back in Sengoku Dynasty with some more tips. This time we're going to be focused on beginner tips that I think are going to be really handy to know as you load up. There's also a really good tip in here that's going to be helpful for your entire playthrough, and one that I didn't find myself until around 40 hours in the game. Don't forget, if you enjoy what you watch or any of it helps you out, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We also have an active and growing Discord, and you can find the link below in the description. Tip number one comes right at the beginning of the game. When you actually create your character, you actually have the ability to pick a background as a trader. Now, doing so will actually give you access to two perks right at the beginning of the game. Well, one perk right at the beginning of the game that enables you to get more money from trades. Also, if you complete that tree line completely, you also get access to a final perk, again making sure that you can earn the most money possible within your playthrough. This is going to be really helpful, especially if you're just playing on normal mode, for instance, or one of the harder modes where money really is key. Tip number two comes as you load into your game. Make sure you loot the initial area. There's some decent stuff that you can find right as you load in, including such as a stone knife. Now, if you don't have a weapon or if you haven't found one, which is probably the case, a stone knife could help you if you choose to wander around. You can also pick up things like water, like food, and of course some stray materials. All those materials you're going to need right at the beginning. If you ask me, that's not a bad haul for 30 seconds in the game. But that's not all. If you make your way backwards, jumping over some water, be careful of the deep water here. It is almost an instant kill. You will find yourself a copper axle. I may be pronouncing that wrong, but there's also some rope as well. Now, I showed you exactly where we started off. It's just back here. You do get that copper axle. Now, what that will actually do is turn logs into planks. So if you chop down a tree, you can debark it and get yourself some bark, and also get yourself some planks too. Now, getting yourself a copper tool right at the beginning of the game is actually pretty huge, as copper tools aren't readily available to you at the beginning of your game. So like I said, getting yourself a copper tool in the first place is a huge boost. Now, I actually didn't realize what these were for when I very first started the game, but as you can see, I just chopped myself down a tree. Now, if you go into your axe and chop it again, when it splits into logs, that's when you're going to be wanting to use your axle. A couple of swings and you're going to be getting yourself bark and planks. The higher quality tools that you use in your game, the more materials you're actually going to be getting. Now, that goes for both you and for the villagers that you have under your control doing certain things as well. Now, a little ways up the beach, you're going to come up to the very first NPC. She is mission lock related. She's going to ask you to build a campfire, chop down some trees and stuff like that. However, just behind her is the first real weapon that you can actually have access to in your game. You don't need to craft it. You don't need to make it. It's a blunt weapon. It's slow to use, but I would prefer having a weapon than no weapon whatsoever, especially if I'm going to go over and try and initially scout out the first area. Again, a really handy tip is you can actually find crow's nests on the floor. They're not up in the trees. Now, again, this is something that I just didn't understand. I had a mission where I had to go find myself some eggs, I think it was, and I didn't know where to look. I thought that there would be a nest up in trees. However, they're literally just on the floor. You can pick the eggs, and of course, you can take apart the nest for the feathers and sticks as well. Our next tip in the video is going to be that you can actually loot other people's belongings in this game, and you get no kind of ramifications from it. No one's going to come after you. There's no law necessarily in the game. And essentially, you are a lord after all. Therefore, you know, their belongings are kind of your belongings. Now, point in case, when you very first find your very first village or attempt to make your very first village, you will find this priestess. Now, she is the first shop that you have available to you, which is brilliant, but you actually need supplies in order to get that money. Money, we've already established, is very important. Now, she does have some stuff that you can loot. She has 2 loot boxes, essentially, that you can loot. almost every season. Now, it is randomly generated. So if you go back one season and nothing in it, there's not really much you can do about it. Come back another season, it should be back in there. When you very first do loot them for the very first time, it's going to have different items. Now you can sell them back to her straight away as well. As you see, we also found a random bag package somewhere. Again, we can loot those items, no ramifications, it's all yours. The next tip is going to be about bell towers, or at least your first initial village. Now, I think many of us always put our very first village back there where that burnt out village is. However, did you know you didn't have to have a village there? No, you can literally put your very first village anywhere you want in the game, which is kind of awesome. Actually, I would recommend a nice flat area, and I would recommend scouting before you do so. But knowing that one fact is something that I just didn't realize you could do. You can literally put it anywhere you want. Now, in the comments on my last tips video, I had someone ask, how do I assign a bed to myself? If you look at your character, there's a good chance that he himself is homeless if you've never assigned him a bed. Now, you do so the same way you assign anyone a bed. However, it can be difficult to do so on the console version if you haven't assigned a bed before you recruited your first villager. So make sure you do that first. Now, as you explore the initial area, you're going to find loads of different rebel camps. You're going to find deserters everywhere. Now, sometimes they're going to have a caged animal. Those animals can be really good, especially if you manage to kill them. Not only will you get achievements for doing so, because some of those animals are quite difficult to deal with, but you can also get some decent supplies from those animals themselves. Now, what it doesn't really tell you is you're going to need just a basic knife, at least, in order to skin it and get meat from it. Another awesome tip I actually wanted to go over again was that you can put down additional beds in houses. Now, I showed this in the last video on a simple house. This is one of the larger houses, and it already comes with 4 beds. Now, on top of putting down a single extra bed, turning it from a 4 to a 5, you can also do this a second time, turning it from a 4 to a 6-person house, which, if you ask me, is massive save in resources for you having to put down an extra house somewhere. Now, you can put this anywhere. It doesn't matter where in the house you do it. When you go to put down any location, you'll see a grid axle. If you put down the extra bed and you try to put down another one, you'll see that very quickly you just simply can't put down a 7th, 8th, and 9th bed, despite there being the space to do so. Now, this also works for your workshops, I should mention really quickly. In your production buildings, you can put down extra workbenches to get extra villagers to essentially use them. And the last tip that I wanted to cover was this flower, this yellow chrysanthemum, I believe it's called. Now, it actually instantly heals you. You do need a decent supply of them, but this flower gives you instant health when you eat them. Which, if you haven't played this game before, instant health is simply something that we don't really have. Everything is heal over time, whereas this flower, you eat a stack of them and you go from 0 health to max health. So if you do see a patch of them, pick up every single one that you possibly can. And there we have it, guys. That's my tips video for you. Hopefully it helps. If it did, don't forget to comment down below in the video what one helped you out the most, or if you've got a tip to share yourself. I'd be really happy for the community to get that tip and to grow with you. But until next time, I've been a monk who's been pretty cool, and I'll see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.